what was slated to be the Hockey Shootout has now been changed to a brand new event for both divisions. It's the Quadrilla Descent, where teams will go head-to-head to try to make it as far down the tower as possible and to prevent their opposition from doing so. There are going to be 8 layers to this tower, where you get stuck or fall off for each marble will correspond to 1 to 8 points for each of the layers. If you make it to the end, that's 10 points. But after the last event, the Slime Balls getting a second goal in a row, stretching their championship lead to 28 points over the Poison Ivy. And it's the Deep Divers and Shadow Riders, but some of those teams are going to be hoping that the Floundering Fish in the first heat, the 16th place team in the championship, can pull a miracle and upset victory here over the Slime Balls so they can catch up. Slime Balls. Seemingly unbeatable right now against the Floundering Fish. They have 3 of them stuck though in the second layer. 3 of the Floundering Fish are still going. 1 of them will get stuck, but 2 of the Floundering Fish will finish the course. Only 1 for the Slime Balls. The Slime Balls, they got 1 marble finishing first, but it doesn't matter how fast you finish. It just matters where you finish and where you get stuck. The Flying Fish, they get 1 stuck on the 6, 1 up there in the 2, but 3 of the Slime Balls getting stuck on the second layer. That's going to be 2 points for each of them only. So the Slime Balls go down in the heat to the Floundering Fish, 28 to 16. That was a pretty handily victory. And the Poison Ivy now and the Deep Divers have a golden opportunity to catch up, but the Poison Ivy now in Heat 2, they are going to have to beat the Valley Dashers and not pull a Slime Balls and choke to the lower teams. Poison Ivy, they've gotten 2 of the Valley Dashers stuck up there, and all of them making it fairly down, and 3 of the Poison Ivy are going to finish. Yes, they will. So the Poison Ivy can get 30 points from those 3 marbles alone. 1 of them made it fairly down. I think they're going to get a 4 or a 5. But the Valley Dashers, they only get 1 finish, so I think it's pretty easy going for the Poison Ivy. They did not pull a Slime Balls, and they will be beating the Valley Dashers. 2 of the Valley Dashers stuck there in the second layer. That's going to be 4 points in total from the 2 of them. So the Valley Dashers, despite getting a finisher, can only get 20 points. Poison Ivy will get 34, so they also pretty handily will be moving on. Now, the Deep Divers pressure zone for them are defending champions to also move on here against the Sinister Sprinters because they need to keep pace with the Poison Ivy and catch up to the Slime Balls. Now, Deep Divers, they've gotten all of the Sinister Sprinters stuck. All of the Sinister Sprinters are stuck in the exact same place. Only one of the Deep Divers is going, only one of the Deep Divers is going to finish, but it doesn't matter. They focused more on the offense there than defense, and it just took like 2 or 3 marbles right there to get all of the Sinister Sprinters stuck in their tracks. So the Sinister Sprinters, I think that's the second layer for them. All of them stuck there, so 4 times 2, that's just 8 for the Sinister Sprinters. Single-digit points for them. Deep Divers, they didn't even get that high of a score, so the Sinister Sprinters, they might not get lost in this event because it's based on the differential to your opposing team. But the Deep Divers, that was a drumming against the Sinister Sprinters. They will also be moving on, have a chance to capitalize off the Slime Balls not moving on. Now, Shadow Riders and the Olive Orbs. Olive Orbs have 2 marbles stuck up top. I think that's going to be 1 only for them. Now, Shadow Riders, all of them are going to finish. One of the marbles getting very slow at the end, but they did manage to finish, and that's all that matters in this event. Doesn't matter if it's if it's a 10-second time or if it's a 30-second time. If they finished, that's all that matters. And the Shadow Riders, all 4 of their marbles, they're going to get a perfect score, 40. And the Olive Orb, because they had some marbles DNF, that's automatic, known for them, but they're not going to advance. 40 to 16, that is another demolition. Kind of a different one because it was a high-scoring one as opposed to a low-scoring one that we saw with the Deep Divers and Sinister Sprinters. So the Shadow Riders moving on as we go into the second half of the heats. Majestic Melons and the Efficient Eggs. Of course, Majestic Melons got their bronze in the last event, but 3 of them stuck up there, similar to what the Slime Balls did. The Efficient Eggs get 3 marbles finishing, then 1 for the Majestic Melons. I think it's too little, too late for the Melons. The Efficient Eggs have been trending very poorly of late. They got last place in the last event with their captain. They are certainly moving on here. 3 of the Majestic Melons only getting 2 points each. So they will only get 16. Less than half of the Efficient Eggs. The Efficient Eggs, their momentum is seemingly turning around once again for them. Now in the 6th heat, Yellow Lotus and the Blue Lotus. Battle of the Lotus teams here in the 6th heat. The Blue Lotus, not a great time so far. They're getting second last season. None of them really DNFing up quad, but one of the Blue Lotus did. But aside from that, it's all been pretty fine. Yellow Lotus, they look like they're going to get 3 finishers, but one of them DNFs right at the end. It'll just be 8 points as opposed to 10. Look at this. One of them too much speed, and they just cannot control. Same can be said for the other Blue Lotus marble on the same path. So the Blue Lotus only get 1 finisher, Yellow Lotus get 2, so that's 20 points for them. And you add up the other 2 Yellow Lotus marbles who got 8, and the other one got 4. So Yellow Lotus actually pretty easily beat the Blue Lotus. It looked closer in the actual event than it did in the overall score. So the Yellow Lotus are moving on as we get into the penultimate heat before we go on to the follow-on rounds. Golden Cheeses and the Green Lotus. Green Lotus. Oh, Green Lotus actually bumping one of the Golden Cheeses off the course. That was brutal from them. And one of the Golden Cheeses helping the Green Lotus finish, but I think the Golden Cheeses actually put themselves in a better position earlier. Look at that. Golden Cheeses getting pushed off by the Green Lotus. Here, 2 of the Golden Cheeses finishing. It's going to be 20 points for the 2 of them. One of the Green Lotus actually needed help from the Golden Cheese to actually finish the course. So the Golden Cheese actually will, because those 2 finishers, beat the Green Lotus by 5 points. 2 of the Green Lotus, we saw on that still after the replay that they got stuck there, and the Green Lotus are not moving on. So the Golden Cheeses, they will move on here. Continue their pretty fine form in the second half. Now in the final heat, Team Atlantic and the Bauble Squad. Team Atlantic, all of them actually making it far down the course. Same can be said for the Bauble Squad. Both teams have all of their marbles down. So it's going to be not much of an offensive game here, more of a defensive one, trying to conserve as many points as possible. Team Atlantic, they're going to get 2 finishers, I think, actually 3 finishers. Bauble Squad, though, have a couple stuck there that have gotten fairly down the course, but with so many finishers for Team Atlantic, they're going to have to hope that they scored higher, and the Bauble Squad, despite a 33, that is a huge score for them, to not advance. So that differential is the smallest out of all of the teams. Bauble Squad gets the best of the rest. Olive Orbs, after getting a silver in the last event, get last. Majestic Melons, after getting bronze in the last event, get 15th. But the Slime Balls, that is the pivotal team there. The Slime Balls getting just 4 championship points. Could have been worse, but certainly the Poison Ivy and the Deep Divers are going to be happy about that. Now the Poison Ivy facing the Floundering Fish, the team that upset the Slime Ball. All of them making it down. The Poison Ivy have all of them finish. Like the Shadow Riders did in the Heath, the Poison Ivy get a perfect score. The Floundering Fish also have a pretty good score here, having 3 finishers, but they have 1 stuck up the course, and that is going to cost the Floundering Fish getting stuck up there, right there in the exit of the second layer. So the Floundering Fish, that puts them 8 points down from a perfect score and from what the Poison Ivy got. So the Poison Ivy are getting a top 4 finish. Now Deep Divers and the Shadow Riders in the second quarterfinal. Deep Divers, if they advance here, they will face the Poison Ivy in the semifinals. If they don't advance here, the Poison Ivy will just stretch that gap from second to third. The Deep Divers, they have 2 of them down there, and I think they're gonna get 2 finishers. Yes, they will. And the Shadow Riders, what has happened to them? After getting 4 finishers, all 4 finishers in the first round in the heats, they get no finishers here. Look at that, one of their marbles, I think that's a captain, getting out of control and not being able to get past the 6th layer. 2 of the Deep Divers getting stuck up in the 2nd layer, but it doesn't matter because they, with 2 finishers, get 24 points, and 24 points to 17 means that the Deep Divers are going to be moving on to the semifinals. They will be facing the Poison Ivy. What a story there. But first, the other 2 quarterfinals, Efficient Eggs and the Yellow Lotus. The Efficient Eggs have done really well in the first half. Yellow Lotus has turned it up more recently, but has been very consistent. The Efficient Eggs, 3 of them, 4 of them, no, one of the Efficient Eggs are going to DNF, but the Yellow Lotus only have 2 finishers, I think. Was that 2 finishers for the Yellow Lotus? It looks something like it. Yes, one there will finish before everyone else. The other Yellow Lotus finishes there, but they actually sabotage the other Yellow Lotus, and they don't finish. It could have had 3 finishers, but one of them gets bumped, and that could have cost them, but not. It wouldn't have mattered because the Efficient Eggs beat them by 4 points. So it wasn't a huge margin of victory, but the Efficient Eggs nonetheless are going to get yet another top 4 finish. It's going to be a good turnaround from the last event. Now, in the final quarterfinal, Golden Cheeses and Team Atlantic. Team Atlantic have 3 of them already stuck. They will get a finisher with some help from the Golden Cheese, and the Golden Cheeses have no finishers for them. I think this is going to be a fairly close match between these 2 teams. Look at this, Team Atlantic. Actually, that could have been a strategy to make the Golden Cheeses not get a finisher, but Team Atlantic, 2 stuck up there. I think that's in the 3 and one of them in the 4, and consistency was not on their side. By 4 points, the Golden Cheeses, despite no finishers, will move on. So it's not just about your finishers, it's about how far down the tower you can get, and Team Atlantic, with a differential of -4, will get 6th only. Yellow Lotus will get 5th, Shadow Riders and the Floundering Fish will get 7th and 8th. But now, this semi-final is a very important one. Our 2nd place team and the 3rd place team in the championship. Poison Ivy and the Deep Divers. Who will be moving on? It looks like the Deep Divers close, but they have a couple falling down. Poison Ivy will get 2 finishers and Deep Divers just 1. Is this what the Poison Ivy needed to move on? The Deep Divers have more marbles down there, but the Poison Ivy have 2 of them, and both of them will finish the course. The Deep Divers have 3 of them coming down, but 2 of them fell off, so they will only get 1 finisher, but by 2 points, because the Poison Ivy had 2 of them stranded up top, will not beat the Deep Divers. So the Deep Divers 3rd place as opposed to the Poison Ivy 2nd place, but the Deep Divers are on their way to the final, potentially getting their 4th gold of the season. In the last event, the Slime Buffs got their 4th gold. The Deep Divers may be trying to replicate that. But now, who will face the Deep Divers in the final? It'll be between the Efficient Eggs and the Golden Cheeses. And the Eggs and the Cheeses will just get 1 finisher each. 2 of them will get, I think, on the 7, that's the 2nd last layer. They couldn't get past that. A lot of bumps there between the Golden Cheeses and the Efficient Eggs. Yeah, they'll get 1 apiece for the finisher, 1 apiece for the 7 point, but a Golden Cheese gets on the 6th layer, and the Efficient Eggs don't have that. So the Efficient Eggs, because of that, they will be 4 points down, and the Golden Cheeses are advancing to the final. They will be facing the Deep Divers, but before that, the bronze medal match, Poison Ivy and the Efficient Eggs, and I imagine the Poison Ivy, if they advance here, if they get the bronze here, it'll be a medal for both the Poison Ivy and the Deep Divers. This is exactly what they needed to catch the slime balls. The Poison Ivy, they would have really be happier with a top 2 finish, but they will get 2 finishers here. So will the Efficient Eggs, though, as those late marbles managed to finish the court despite getting bumped by the Poison Ivy. I think the other Poison Ivy marbles, though, despite falling off the course in the middle part of the tower, they at least got fairly down the tower, while the Efficient Eggs, the other 2 Efficient Eggs, I think, are way up it. Yes, they are. The Efficient Eggs, I think those 2 marbles are in the 2-point range, so that's not going to be very good for them. Just 24 for the Efficient Eggs, so they choke away another medal, and the Poison Ivy, like the sprint, beating the Efficient Eggs for the bronze medal. But now, in the gold medal match, Deep Divers and the Golden Cheeses. Deep Divers, they have only got golds out of their medals in this league. I'm going to try to get another one, a 4th one here to catch the slime balls against the Golden Cheese. All of the Golden Cheese is still going, though. One of them falls off, and the other one gets stuck in the 6th, but 2 Golden Cheeses are going to finish, and that might be the hopes of the Deep Divers getting gold over right here. Deep Divers have 2 of them there, but then contact between both of them makes, I think that's their captain, stuck there in the 6th zone. But the other 2 Deep Divers stuck way up there in the 2. I don't think it's going to be enough for the Deep Divers. The Golden Cheeses, appropriately enough, win gold. The Deep Divers get 2nd, but still, that is great haul of points for them, gaining on the Slime Balls. Poison Ivy too, as those two teams, second and third in the championship, are gonna be gaining, but by how much? How close will they be? And the Golden Cheeses, this is pivotal for them too, as they are probably gonna stay in championship contention. It's not that probably can't be. The same can probably not be said for a lot of other teams. But well done to the Golden Cheese, their second gold of the season. Of course, the Deep Divers, silver, their first silver, and the Poison Ivy, their third bronze. But now looking at the standings, top 5, the only ones still in championship contention. Poison Ivy just 1 point ahead of the Deep Divers now, but the Slime Balls are still over 10 points ahead, 17 points actually, ahead of the Poison Ivy. Golden Cheeses with their gold, they stay in contention. Shadow Riders also, just barely. Now everyone from the Yellow Lotus down to the Blue Lotus still in podium contention, but everyone from Sinister Sprinters down cannot make the final podium.